at 4. ABC 10 News at 5 starts right now.
ABC 10 News starts now with breaking news.
Police are back at the home of missing Chula Vista mother Maya Millete, nearly 6 months following her disappearance. Late this afternoon, a search warrant was executed and a vehicle was confiscated from the home. Good evening. I'm Lindsay Pena.
And I'm Steve Atkinson. This is breaking news that we've been following for the last 60 minutes. Our ABC 10 News reporter Leah Pizzetti is live in the neighborhood. And Leah, we understand Maya's father-in-law was at the home when police arrived.
Right, yeah, he was here. He was inside when police searched this home. He actually came out with police and had a little bit of an encounter with people who were here gathered, taking it all in as police searched this home. Now, we do know they did take a car. I want to show you visuals of what some people out here showed us. Looks like a black Jeep was towed. We are told that this is Maya's Jeep, so we do know that they did take this car. Now, police did tell us, Chula Vista Police said, the goal of today was to obtain additional evidence and clues to Maya's current whereabouts. Yesterday, they did give us an update as well. Chula Vista Police have been giving us monthly updates about their investigation. As of yesterday, they said they had interviewed 68 different individuals. They have served 50 search warrants of locations, cars, phones, technology, social media, and this is the third search warrant served at this home here where Maya and Larry have lived. Also happening today, like I said, when police came out, they had a car parked in their driveway. Then they came out in a line. Out with them came Larry's father, and he did have a little bit of an encounter with the people waiting out here. I want to show you a little bit of what he said.
She's missing. Now is abandonment, okay? She abandoned the family.
Oh, hell no. She never abandoned her family. Oh, don't even give me that. So, I know her. She would have never done this.
So you just heard right there that Larry's father did say that Maya has abandoned her children. Her children were present here today. I did see a couple of them with my own eyes. I did speak to Larry's father, Benito, a little bit after that experience happened. And he said very clearly he didn't want to go on camera. He didn't want to do a formal interview. But he said to me, God knows what happened. Now, he came out, like I said, he had that encounter with the people out here. The people out here, there's been a large crowd out here today. It's people who have caught on to this story. They know about the story about Maya, who has been missing for almost 6 months now. They've been part of searches, so they came out here to see what was happening. Like I said, this is the third search that has happened at this home. Neighbors have been coming out. It's been quite the scene out here. Police, though, have left the scene. They left about an hour and a half ago. So unclear if they took anything else from the home. We know they took the black Jeep at that point. They did have an evidence van parked in the driveway. Larry's father did tell me that he may have taken some cell phones as well. The police took cell phones. So we will continue to keep you updated as soon as we know possibly what they took and any future steps they'll be taking on this investigation. Reporting live in Chula Vista, Leah Pizzetti, ABC 10 News.
So many questions left to be answered. Leah, thank you. You can follow any new developments in the search for Maya Millete by downloading our free mobile app. Just go to the App Store and search 10 News. In an unexpected twist, a Camp Pendleton Marine under federal investigation for stolen ammunition and explosives pleaded guilty during a court hearing today. It is a story that our Team 10 has been closely watching. Our reporter Jennifer Kastner has more from Camp Pendleton.
Inside this Camp Pendleton courthouse Thursday, Sergeant Gunnar Naughton pleaded guilty to charges related to stealing ammo and taking explosives. He pleaded not guilty to a charge that his conduct of receiving and having blasting powder was of a nature that brought discredit upon the armed forces. He was one of at least 5 Marines who have been under investigation, according to a source with close military ties, which ABC 10 News first reported on in March. Thursday, Sergeant Naughton admitted that while on active duty, he stole ammo from a range to shoot it at home with his friends because, he said, ammo is expensive. He admitted he also removed ammo cans from his team leader's home to protect that leader from getting caught, and he admitted to telling an officer to delete his Signal and WhatsApp communications. Sergeant Naughton also pleaded guilty to trying to dump evidence into a ravine, including about 12,000 rounds of ammo, 2 military grenades, and an M83 smoke grenade. The judge made it clear to the young Marine how serious the offenses are and urged him to not have anything to do with firearms or ammunition in the future.
Jennifer Kastner, ABC 10 News.
And Jen is still in the courtroom right now where both sides are arguing what Naughton's sentence should be. We will let you know what happens in later editions of 10 News.
We now know the date for the recall election of Governor Gavin Newsom. Today, the Lieutenant Governor set that date for September 14th. Voters will be asked if Newsom should be recalled, and if so, who should replace him. Potential candidates have about 2 more weeks to decide whether to run. 2 San Diegans are already in the race, former Mayor Kevin Faulconer and businessman John Cox. The recall election will cost $276 million.
California businesses may be back open, but many people still don't have jobs. No job means they can't pay their rent, and in turn, landlords don't have money to pay their bills. Our ABC 10 News reporter Adam Rakusin looks at the new relief programs passed by the state to help both tenants and landlords get through the next few months.
Oh, what a year and a few months it's been. For some, this pandemic will be nothing more than a memory, a historic time that they lived through. For others, it's a time that pushed them and their families to the brink of physical and financial collapse.
It's been an emotional roller coaster. I don't want to tell my kids we're going to have to live in a van, but it's nerve-wracking.
Not just for the people who needed a job to pay the rent, but for the landlord who needed that rent money to pay back a loan.
It's cheaper for us to live than supporting this other family in our other house.
The state, local counties, and cities have each been through different iterations of eviction moratoriums and rent relief programs, the most recent coming last week. Just as time was about to run out on the state's efforts, lawmakers cut a deal to extend California's eviction moratorium and rent relief.
Anybody that has been impacted by COVID that owes rent going back to last April, not just this April, last April, we will pay 100% of that rent. We'll also pay that rent, 100% of it going forward through September.
According to the National Equity Atlas, about 758,000 households in the state are behind on rent. The NEA's research says that equals about $3.5 billion. On a smaller level, the average families are behind on their rent is about $4,700.
The bottom line is this is to support struggling Californians, whether they be small mom and pop landlords, which is the percentage of landlords, or the tenants who are struggling and want to make sure they've got some stability.
Senate Pro Tem Toni Atkins was instrumental in getting the rent relief program done. She says it allows tenants to access rental funds directly if their landlord chooses not to participate. It also makes sure landlords can get money, even if their otherwise income-qualified tenants have already vacated a unit.
I think there were people that still, and there may still be people that don't know they're eligible for this, and that there are protections in place for both the landlord and the tenant.
For some landlords, an extension is not what they were looking for.
Many landlords have not received any rent since March of last year.
Deborah Carlton is with the California Apartment Association. She says most landlords have 5 units or less, meaning non-payments could impact their ability to stay afloat. In some cases, they've dealt with tenants who couldn't pay and didn't, taking advantage of the situation. The new law will add some protections for landlords.
Now what we're going to find out very soon is as landlords apply for funding, if tenants don't apply, we know that they probably don't qualify, and or they will apply and the state or local government's going to tell them you don't qualify.
Adam Rakusin, ABC 10 News.
If you are a tenant or a landlord that needs help, you can call the number on your screen right there at the bottom of the screen, or you can head to our website and look for this story under the tab Rebound.
After being canceled last year because of the pandemic, the Big Bay boom is back. I got a behind-the-scenes look today from the man who creates California's largest 4th of July fireworks show. Fireworks over the San Diego Bay are back this year. But before the show starts on Sunday, there's a lot of work to do. Sam Brugema is the pyrotechnics expert who plans the whole thing.
We sourced some really neat stuff from different manufacturers to be presented in the 20th anniversary.
Brugema has been doing the show for years now, except for 2012, a year he refers to as the Big Bay Bust, when all the fireworks went off at once. Starting Thursday, he and his crews began preparing the 4 barges where the fireworks are launched from.
They're a wooden rack that supports the high-density polyethylene mortar tube. And that's, we found, is some of the safest stuff to have in case there's a malfunction.
When it's all done, there'll be 5,016 fireworks ready to go.
It's like a bullet in a gun. Same thing, but much bigger.
Everything is controlled electronically.
Every gun out there, mortar out there, has an address, and it has a destination of what a certain shell goes in a certain place. So it'll end up in a certain spot in the sky or a certain part of the soundtrack.
And ultimately, it's up to Brugema how it all plays out.
I get the music. I have my computer software. I tab out music where I want the fireworks to hit, the beats to hit on.
He says this year will be better than ever and reminds people,
be safe and don't take it upon yourself. Leave it to the professionals.
And he is a professional. The Big Bay Boom starts at 9 p.m. on the 4th of July.
Glad it's back. A woman was taken to the hospital after crashing a jet ski into the rocks at Mission Bay. Lifeguards told us the woman had rented the yellow jet ski for an unknown reason, lost control. Witnesses notified lifeguards who say that the woman had initially lost consciousness but then regained it when they arrived. Now, with this crash, lifeguards say they are concerned about people following boating rules and staying safe this long weekend. La Mesa's search for a new police chief has come to an end. The city has appointed Captain Ray Sweeney, an in-house veteran who has worked for the department for 2 decades. He is now tasked with repairing ties with the community after several controversial incidents. In 2018, a white resource officer body slammed a black female high school student at Helix High School. In May of 2020, there was that controversial arrest of a black man by a white officer outside of the trolley station. Video showed the officer, who has since been fired, shoving that man. That incident sparked a peaceful protest that turned into rioting as the night went on. Sweeney has released a 6-step action plan, including maintaining a working partnership with the Community Police Oversight Board, hosting planning and listening sessions, pushing more de-escalation tactics, and developing policy review teams, and implementing mandatory critical response training.
The San Diego Convention Center is no longer being used as a shelter for migrants. That's 2 weeks ahead of schedule. Last night, the last 11 girls who'd been staying there were either reunited with family or moved in with sponsors. Nearly 2,400 unaccompanied children who had crossed the border spent time in the convention center since March. There will be several rounds of cleaning in the building before conventions resume in August. Today, New York prosecutors charged the Trump Organization and its chief financial officer with a 15-year alleged tax scheme. This marks the first criminal case against the former president's namesake company.
As ABC's Rena Roy explains, the charges filed by the special grand jury were unsealed just this afternoon.
After a 2-year-long investigation into the business dealings of former President Donald Trump, charges now revealed in Manhattan criminal court against his company and its chief financial officer, Alan Weisselberg. A special grand jury voting to indict both the Trump Organization and Weisselberg on Wednesday, the DA saying it was a 15-year-long tax fraud scheme. The CFO pleading not guilty to criminal charges, including grand larceny in the second degree. His attorney saying he plans to fight these charges in court.
In 244 years, we have not had a local prosecutor go after a former president of the United States.
Weisselberg and the Trump Organization also pleading not guilty to a scheme to defraud and 14 other charges, releasing a statement saying in part that this is not justice but politics and that Weisselberg is being used as a pawn in a scorched earth attempt to harm the former president. The charges come after the Manhattan DA obtained years of Trump's tax returns and other financial records in a battle that went all the way to the Supreme Court twice. Wednesday, Trump dismissed the investigation, maintaining he runs a clean company.
I call it the continuation of the greatest and most disgusting witch hunt of all time.
Weisselberg has worked for the Trump Organization since the 1970s. In one of his books, Trump saying of Weisselberg, he did whatever was necessary to protect the bottom line. Sources tell ABC News the Manhattan DA wants to use Weisselberg as a cooperating witness against Trump and his organization. Former President Trump and his family members have not been indicted, but sources say this is just the first set of charges expected in this case. In New York, Rena Roy, ABC News.